Hello everybody, it's Professor Rich. I'm up here. Hello everybody. Okay, so today what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share part of a class with you, a real class I taught online very recently. The student in this class is called Mai, and she agreed it's okay for me to record the class and share it on the YouTube channel. The part of the class we're going to look at in this video is very similar to the pronunciation practice activity which I demonstrated in my last video, and this is to show you how I really use this activity in classes, and also how flexible the activity can be. So in this class, me and Mai had just been talking about personal fitness and personal development activities, and you can see on the screen I've been making some notes about the phrases she's been using. Now, the phrases that I've written on the screen are not the exact words that she used. They're like an improved version of the words she used, right? So I think, for example, I go for a light jog every morning. I think Mai said something like, I jogging every morning, or I every morning go jogging, or something like that. And I just made a slight improvement, make it a bit more natural, right? Mai actually can't see these phrases as we do this pronunciation activity. So what you can see on the screen now is my screen, and I'm not at this moment sharing it with Mai, right? So she has to rely on listening to what I'm saying, which I think is critical for this kind of pronunciation activity. As I mentioned last video, it's important to separate, or not separate, but it's important to focus entirely on the sounds and not get distracted by the individual words, because we really want to capture the connected speech, the whole phrase, not focus on the pronunciation of individual words, right? So that's why at this moment I'm not sharing my screen with Mai, okay? And that's why maybe you think, oh, this is really easy because I can see the phrases, I'll just say them, right? But that's not really how we do this activity. So if you want to do the activity while we listen, then you should actually cover that part of the screen, or just look away from the screen and listen, okay? So I'm going to start the video of the class now, and let's have a listen. Okay, Mai, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read some similar phrases to phrases that you've used, and as we do with our pronunciation, I'd just like you to have a listen and then try to say them. Not immediately, because we don't want mechanical repetition. So, you know, not hello, 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 hello. No. Just you run through it in your head a few times and then try and say it. Okay?
Okay.
All right, let's try this. I go for a light jog every morning.
I go like a jogging every morning.
I go for a light jog every morning.
I go for like jogging every morning.
I go for a light jog 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 every morning.
Wow, that's good. Okay. Wow. I grew up on the coast, so I love fish.
I grew up at the coast and like fish.
I grew up on the coast, so I love fish.
I grew up at the coast, so I like fish.
I grew up on the coast, so I love fish.
I grew up on the coast and like fish.
I grew up on the coast, so I love fish.
I grew up on the coast, so I love fish.
Yeah, you've got it now. Okay, let's try one more. I grew up on the coast, so I love fish.
I grew up on the coast, so I love the fish.
Brilliant. Okay.
Fish is not countable. None.
Well, fish is an interesting one, actually. So fish is normally uncountable when we're talking about fish individually. So I love fish. Let's have fish for dinner. Do we have enough fish? We don't have any fish. Do you have much fish? Do we buy much fish? Right. So yeah, normally it's uncountable. However, there's a countable version which refers to species of fish. Let me just get this correct, because it becomes a very scientific thing, right? It's definitely not a very common way of talking about fish. It's more sort of almost scientific, right? But you will see the existence of the word fishers. And when I talk about fishers, it's like the plural, as I understand it, it's the plural of species of fish. So like you could say, in this lake, there are many fishers, as in there are many types of fish. Right? But not very common for everyday people won't really talk about that. Maybe fishermen, maybe scientists, right? Most people would just say, there's a lot of fish in this lake, and then I'm just talking uncountable, lots of fish. But yeah, if you talk about fishers, you're talking about like the types of fish. That's my understanding.
That's interesting.
Yeah. All right, fantastic.
Wow.
Right, so to finish off I'll just share my screen.
Thank you for additional time.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It gives me time to make a coffee. Right, I think that's probably a reasonable time to stop that. So, interesting, I had forgotten about that. So what happened there was really interesting, right? We were practicing the pronunciation activity, and then at one point in the activity, Mai asked me a question, which was about fish, the word fish being uncountable. So Mai is a very good student because she asks questions like this, and really it's fantastic when you have students who will ask questions throughout the class like this, because it does part of your job for you as a teacher. One of the more difficult things actually to do as a teacher is to kind of try to understand what your student can and can't understand. And when you have students who tell you what they don't understand or what they would like to know, it's actually a lot easier as a teacher, right? So she asked me about fish, and then I gave not my best explanation in the world, to be honest. I think I was a bit rambling and I went on about it a bit too much, but that's all right. That happens in real classes, and maybe hopefully you got something out of that. It gave you an indication of this activity, the pronunciation activity, but also what online classes might look like. And also maybe a bit of inspiration in terms of if you do get online classes or one-to-one classes with a teacher, ask questions and get that expansive answer. You can see I tried to give some context about my answer and said, well, normally fish is uncountable, but there is this exception. You might see the word fishers, but it's not really a word that's commonly used. It's a word that, perhaps fishermen might use to say, well, there's lots of fishes in this lake, and they're talking about the different types of fish, the different species of fish. Most everyday people probably wouldn't say that. And in fact, some people might just think that that's wrong when they hear it because they're so unfamiliar with the word fishers. It does exist, though. You can look it up. All right, guys. So I hope that was useful in some way. I'm planning on doing some more of these. I do actually record all my classes with Mai, as she's given me permission, and also she records them because she finds that useful, and she asked me about that before she did that as well, so that's what inspired me a little bit to do this kind of thing. Anything else I think that might be useful that comes up, then I'll think about making a video on it. We'll see how people react to this. Maybe it'll be, oh my god, Teacher Rich, what are you doing in your classes? I don't know. Alright everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.